The women's basketball team played for the regular season A-10 title against number 6 Xavier. See how they fared. Owlsports starts now. Hello and welcome to Owlsports. To my near left is my handsome co-anchor Matt Plunkett, and I'm Josh Filomeno. Coming up, Rudy Mezzi tells us about the athletic department's secret stashes.
And we'll tell you how one Temple football player fared at the NFL Combine. But first, women's basketball. The Temple women's basketball team took on Xavier to decide who would be the Atlantic 10 regular season champions. Both teams were undefeated coming into this one, so something has got to give. Owls fans were certainly hoping for an upset early on in this one. Early on we see McCauley dish in the corner for Shea Petty for 3. Later in the first half we see Quita Hollis with a nice move to the basket, getting in for the easy layup. Then we see Quita Wallace at the top of the key shooting a 3 here. That's a big 3 because that tied the all-time leading record in Temple women's history. Then she would go on to break the record later in the game. But in the second half, Xavier came out firing with a nice jumper here from Amber Harris, a nice spin move by Tashia Phillips. Another nice spin move coming up here actually for Xavier with the N1. Temple tried to make a comeback with a nice 3 here from Petty, and then another nice floater coming in here from Petty. But the Xavier bigs would prove to be too much, as the Owls would go on to lose 66-73.
In games like this, we have to do everything right. I mean, I know it's not possible to be perfect, but to win these kinds of games, you have to be as near perfect as you can, and that's where we dug ourselves in the hole tonight. Like Coach said, we didn't double down sometimes we were supposed to. All the little things, like we worked hard, we didn't give up. We went right at them, but it's just the little things, paying attention to detail that killed us. So in order to win games like this, we have to just pay attention to detail and just knuckle down, focus, and try to do things we're supposed to do.
Temple also took on A-10 and Big 5 rival St. Joe's. Kristen McCarthy was the leading scorer for the Owls, dropping 16 points. As a team, though, in the first half, the Owls shot a not so impressive 25.7%, while St. Joe's shot an even 44%. It was all Owls in the second half, though. They overcame their 7-point halftime deficit and went on to win a close one, 52-49. The women's team will be headed to Lowell, Massachusetts this weekend for the Atlantic 10 tournament. Temple has a first-round bye and will take on the winner between St. Bonaventure and Fordham. The Owls defeated both teams during the regular season.
The women's basketball team got its recognition for their success this year. Tanya Cardozo was named the A-10 Coach of the Year in just her 3rd season on North Broad. Shea Petty earned all A-10 first team and all defensive team honors. Kristen McCarthy and Quita Wallace were also acknowledged, earning 2nd team and 3rd team honors respectively. After a slow first half, Shea Petty has picked up her play the last few months. Updates Anya Cleveland has more.
If the women's basketball team's New Year's resolution was to win games, then they've been doing a great job of sticking to it. Winning 15 of their last 16 games, junior guard Shea Petty has been making her mark on the A-10 this year.
She impacts the game in so many different ways, and as long as she's being aggressive on the floor, she can make things happen, whether it's offensively or defensively.
February may be the shortest month of the year, but it was more than enough time for Shea to rack up enough stats to earn Athlete of the Month honors and push the Owls to a 15-game winning streak.
She averaged a good amount of points, a lot of steals, rebounds. She was pretty high up there in all the categories, so she was definitely one of the most important people in that run.
I can't take all the credit because I know at the beginning of the season I was horrible. But I felt like once January and February came, we found our identity.
Because of NCAA Division I transfer rules, Shea had to sacrifice a year of playing to come to Temple when she transferred from Wright State. And now it seems like that sacrifice was worth it.
I was definitely nervous because Temple is a higher level than Wright State basketball-wise. And I was like, what if I don't fit in? What if I'm not good enough? But once I got here, like, the team was very welcoming, and I felt right at home with them.
What she's brought to our team is, you know, on both ends of the floor, she's been able to be dominant. She leads our team in scoring. She leads the A10 in steals, as well as being ranked nationally in steals. So she brings everything to our program.
Reporting for Owlsports Update, I'm Anya Cleveland.
After losing to the top team in the nation in the Duke Blue Devils, Temple looked to bounce back with 2 wins against George Washington and UMass this past week. 1 game above Richmond in the A10, Temple looked to secure the 2nd seed in the conference tournament. And that is exactly what they did. After 2 slow first halves against both teams, the Owls kicked it up to the gear in the second half to defeat GW and UMass in overtime, led by senior Lavoy Allen, who had a Kevin Love as type performance with a total of 34 points and 34 rebounds. The Owls will finish its season when they take on LaSalle on Saturday, March 5th at the Liacouras Center. It's senior day, so stop by to watch senior Lavoy Allen with his family being honored before tip-off. After that, the men will travel to Atlantic City, New Jersey for the A10 tournament that begins Tuesday, March 8th. But because of the Owls' high seeding, they do not begin play until Friday the 11th. So use your time off from school and head down to the Jersey Shore to support the Cherry and White.
Football coach Steve Adazio and men's basketball coach Fran Dunphy both have something very interesting in common. But I really can't seem to put my finger on it. Updates Rudy Mezzi has the answer.
Coaches football. One wins A10 championships, the other wins national championships. They may be different, but these 2 men have one very important thing in common. Lip fur, mouth curtains, teeth, brows, that's right, mustaches. And they've been going strong for quite some time.
Got this when I was in the United States Army. I started to grow this in 1971.
Oh, I'd say I've had this thing since about 79.
And they're pretty attached to their furry friends.
You know, maybe you get a nice cannoli or something, you get a little leftover here, you stick that tongue up like that, and you get a little surprise later.
I'll be quite honest with you. I'm still trying to determine whether or not I think it's a good look for me.
My wife doesn't know me without it. My kids don't know me without it. I don't even know if I know me without it. You know, I started to recede. I thought maybe I'd comb it up and cover the front of my head or something. I don't know.
But who are their favorite mustaches?
It was Tom Selleck. I only had a small problem that my kids remind me of. I look nothing like him.
Jerry Colonna. Jerry's an old comedian back in the day. William Shakespeare too. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good answer. Old school.
Old school.
But of the 2 of them, whose is better?
I think Coach Adazio has a better mustache. His is a little darker, a little more girth to it at this point.
I'm trying to assess it right now. Coach has got his nice and trimmed up. I'm a little scraggly looking right now, you know. So I'm going with Coach. You know,
2 very humble guys here.
Respect, admiration, and strips of horizontal hair in the middle of your face. That is Temple Sports.
You're my favorite host. I don't know if I ever told you that before.
The Temple football schedule is out, and it's time to mark your calendars. The Owls open their 2011 season on September 1st at the Link against Villanova for the 3rd annual Mayor's Cup. The Owls will also get to host 7 conference home games. That's not all. TO will also play host to the Penn State Nittany Lions. To see a full breakdown of the football team schedule, you can visit owlsports.com. The new schedule isn't the only thing getting attention in the Temple football world. According to ESPN, senior defensive tackle Muhammad Wilkerson is getting a lot of buzz after his performance at the NFL Combine. Wilkerson, who is 6'4" and weighs over 300 pounds, ran a 4.99 in the 40-yard dash. ESPN says that Wilkerson remains one of the 5 most underrated prospects in the entire class.
The number 7 women's fencing team hosted 4 top 10 schools Sunday in the Temple Invitational. The Owls went 2-2 in the meet. It was also senior day, and Owlsports Update's Matt Cohen was on hand.
A coach's dream. That's how Fencing Hall of Fame coach Nikki Frank described seniors Audrey Baruso, Alyssa Lombardi, Sam Pasquarelli, and Grace Wu. As the fencing team competed in the Temple Invitational last Sunday, a meet that features some of the top teams in the country, the girls couldn't help wonder where the time went.
I remember our freshman year, the seniors were trying to tell us that, and all 4 years we're here, it's like, no, it's not over yet, it's never going to end. And then today, sort of looking back, and it's over.
Been a pretty good run for the senior bunch, a team ranked in the top 10 each year, and a combined career win total of over 500 victories. The bond between the girls is even tighter off the mat.
There's definitely a really special bond between us. You know, we've known each other for a long time. We've gone through a lot, so we're very close. You know, the whole team's close, but the four of us, we're very close.
We're all different, but it's truly amazing just to look at each other and we're like, wow, I've known you since day one, and now it's the end, and we're going all kind of in the same path, I guess you could say.
The career for these senior girls isn't over just quite yet. They have the NIFWA Championships this weekend, followed by the NCAA Regionals at the beginning of March, and then hopefully the NCAA Championships at the end of the month. And the goal?
Just end on a good note, have a good time with the girls, just have fun.
For one of the rare senior classes to make it 4 years together, a strong NCAA showing would cap a storybook career. At McGonigal Hall, Matt Cohen, Owlsports Update.
The lacrosse team defeated Mount St. Mary's on Sunday by a score of 9-5. Sophomores Kelly Pace and Stephanie Parcell recorded 2 goals and 1 assist each in the victory. Temple outscored the Mountaineers 5-2 in the second half. The Owls took on Rutgers for the season opener. The Scarlet Knights got off to an early start as Marlene Welsh scores here first of her 3 goals on the day. But as the Owls respond right back as Stephanie Parcell sneaks up behind the Rutgers goalkeeper to tie it back up. It proved to be a tight game throughout. No team ever led more than 2. This goal brought the Knights within 1 going into half. Okay, now let's fast forward into the final minutes. Actually, just 9 seconds to go. Charlotte Shawilla finishes a nice pass from Parcell to tie the game. But it was Welsh in the end with the late first free position shot to give Rutgers the 11-10 win.
If you're a fan of Temple's baseball and softball teams, we've got some good news and some bad news. One team came away with 3 wins over the weekend while the other was swept away. Let's start with the good news. The Temple softball team played 5 games in just 3 days at the USF Fairfield Inn and Suites Tampa North tournament. They won 3 of the 5 games they played, while the standout was freshman pitcher Brooklyn White. She posted a 2-1 record in her starts and allowed just 1 earned run against the host team, South Florida. Next out for the Owls is Orlando, where they will face 4 ranked teams in the Citrus Classic. Now on to the bad news. The baseball team was swept in a 3-game series against High Point. The Owls only managed to put out 15 runs in the series after posting a ridiculous 64 runs in their previous series against North Carolina Central. Temple's next test comes in Elon, North Carolina, before heading back to Ambler for its home opener March 9th.
Let's get right into the nest. After a solid week of competition, which featured a win over Springfield, the Temple gymnastics team is currently 11th in the nation.
This week's Player of the Week is Lavoy Allen. Allen averaged 18 points and 14.5 rebounds against Duke and George Washington.
And the men's basketball team's final game of the season against LaSalle is also Dollar Dog Day, so come on down and bring some ketchup on Saturday. Well, that will do it for this edition of Owlsports Update. Remember, you can stay up to date everything cherry and white by logging on to owlsports.com.
For Josh Filomeno and the rest of the Owlsports crew, I'm Matt Plunkett. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next week.